You think you know your neighborhood until one day it betrays you in ways you never imagined? I had returned from a grueling 3-month project overseas, expecting nothing more than my own bed and a quiet evening. But the instant I pulled into the driveway, my heart sank. The house looked pristine, repainted in a shade of cream I had never approved, the garden trimmed as if by a professional landscaper, and new patio furniture glinting under the late afternoon sun. Most alarming of all was the digital lock on my door, blinking like it had been waiting for someone else. My first thought was that I had somehow arrived at the wrong house, but the mailbox confirmed the address. Confused and weary, I reached for my phone, ready to call the HOA president Karen, the woman who once fined me for decorating too early. Before I could, a car pulled up confidently, and out stepped a young man, sharp in a button-down shirt, polished demeanor, holding a grocery bag like he owned the place. He squared himself and said cautiously, "Excuse me, sir. This is private property. Can I help you?" I laughed incredulously. "Sir, I should be asking you that. This is my house." He blinked, stunned. "I bought it from the HOA president. She said her son used to live here and moved overseas." My mind raced, and before I could speak, a white Lexus screeched behind him. Karen emerged, sunglasses on, blazer sharp, like a general surveying a battlefield. "Oh, you're back," she said, her voice calm yet calculating. "Yeah, I'm back," I replied, my exhaustion vanishing into anger. Karen exhaled as if I was a nuisance she had to tolerate. "Well, you said you'd be gone a few weeks. After 2 months, I thought something tragic happened." The man turned sharply, to her, confusion turning into outrage. "Wait, what do you mean he's the owner? You told me this was your son's house. I paid extra for the furniture and appliances." Karen's lips twitched, a crack in her armor. For the first time, I saw vulnerability. Greg, the man who had bought my home, explained how Karen had misled him, forging documents and insisting he pay for appliances and furniture, claiming it was part of a family transfer. My jaw tightened as realization dawned. My TV, appliances, even my father's antique clock had vanished. Karen stammered excuses, saying she had acted under HOA authority, trying to maintain the neighborhood while I was unreachable. Greg's calm but firm voice cut through. "You committed fraud, forged documents, false representations. This is criminal." I looked at Karen, demanding my key. She refused, claiming HOA power. Greg assured me he was on my side. Karen, realizing the walls were closing in, stormed off. The next morning, I met my lawyer, Gerald, an old friend with a razor-sharp mind. I laid out the forged sale, Greg's purchase, Karen's lies. Gerald didn't flinch. "She did what with your appliances?" he asked incredulously. With Greg's documents, we uncovered the forged deed and power of attorney, sloppy forgeries that betrayed Karen's overconfidence. Within 48 hours, we had enough evidence to involve police and the county recorder. Karen sensed the trap and skipped the emergency HOA meeting, sending a weak email claiming a mental health leave. Surveillance footage from the HOA clubhouse exposed her printing and signing fake documents. One board member resigned on the spot. The courtroom became the stage for justice. Karen, once commanding, looked diminished. No sunglasses, no blazer, just a pale, trembling figure facing overwhelming evidence. Greg testified, disgusted at being manipulated. And I spoke last, exposing the theft of more than just my home, my peace, my trust. The judge's words were heavy but clear: forged signatures, false power of attorney, deliberate misrepresentation. 9 years in prison and restitution of $680,000. Karen's house would be auctioned to repay losses. Her mouth moved, weakly protesting, but the judge cut her off. Justice had arrived, and for the first time in months, I breathed freely, my home restored, neighborhood reformed, and HOA corruption dismantled. Greg and I, unexpected allies, shared a laugh at the irony, our losses covered, and the bonds of a bizarre friendship forged through betrayal and triumph. The aftermath of Karen's downfall rippled through the neighborhood like a storm, leaving the air clearer than ever before. With her house under foreclosure and the HOA board dissolved, I felt a strange mixture of relief and disbelief. The community that once cowered under her authority was slowly beginning to breathe again. Lisa, a neighbor with a sharp eye and unwavering integrity, was elected to lead the newly reformed board, promising transparency and zero tolerance for corruption. And for the first time in years, the neighborhood meetings were filled with genuine discussion instead of fear. Greg and I, now unlikely friends bonded by chaos and deception, spent hours restoring my home, returning furniture and possessions, and reinforcing security measures to ensure nothing like this could happen again. But the story didn't end with paperwork and restitution. The psychological scars lingered. I realized how vulnerable people become when power is concentrated in the hands of someone willing to lie, cheat, and manipulate under the guise of authority. Walking past Karen's foreclosed home, I could see the empty driveway, the cracked windows, the once pristine garden now overrun with weeds, symbols of a reign of control that had finally crumbled. Yet the real victory was the message sent to everyone in the neighborhood: abuse authority, and consequences follow. Greg, ever practical, reminded me that while justice was served in court, the lesson extended beyond legalities. Communities thrive only when vigilance, accountability, and courage prevail. Over the next few months, the neighborhood slowly returned to a normal rhythm, children playing freely where they once feared HOA scrutiny, neighbors exchanging genuine greetings, instead of forced smiles and trust being rebuilt brick by brick. I took a moment to walk through my home, touching each restored possession, remembering the months of anxiety, the stolen peace, and the threat that hung over us. Each item was a reminder of resilience, of how quickly chaos can infiltrate everyday life, and how necessary it is to stand up when rules are twisted for personal gain. Greg, sitting beside me in the living room over cups of strong coffee, reflected on the absurdity of it all. The house he purchased thinking he was helping a family, only to be caught in a web of lies and forgery. "Never thought HOA drama could turn into a criminal case," he said with a wry smile. I laughed, shaking my head at the surreal turn of events. Neighborhood watch programs strengthened, and the HOA's bylaws were rewritten to prevent any single member from wielding unchecked power. Meetings were now documented thoroughly, with community oversight at every step. The lesson wasn't just personal, it became a cautionary tale for anyone who thought authority could be used as a shield for deception. Even months later, whenever I saw Karen's name mentioned in old board emails or meeting minutes, it served as a stark warning. The combination of audacity and entitlement can unravel fast under scrutiny. Slowly, life returned to a rhythm of peace and predictability. The trust I had once lost in the community was restored, not just by legal means, but by the transparency and cooperation now required of every member. Children played on lawns that no longer required permission slips for every ball kicked. Neighbors conversed without fear of retaliation. And my house, once the center of deceit, became a symbol of resilience, a testament to the idea that justice, though delayed, prevails. Greg and I, bonded by this unlikely saga, occasionally joked about the absurdity of fighting fraud through HOA chaos. Yet both of us knew that the experience had changed us, teaching lessons about vigilance, courage, and the importance of standing up for what's right. As the sun set over the now peaceful street, I finally allowed myself a deep breath, appreciating the calm after the storm, knowing that while Karen had attempted to rob more than property, she had ultimately failed to steal our sense of justice, community, and dignity. And with that, the neighborhood, once a stage for tyranny, became a place of restored order, shared responsibility, and enduring vigilance. A living example that even in the most surreal HOA dramas, integrity and courage will always find a way to win.